Hey, I'm John Kramer. This is SNL Reviewed, and while Charlize Theron did a terrific job hosting the next to last show of the season, it wasn't a particularly funny one, which isn't to say that there weren't some great moments in it. They opened with a Mother's Day message from Michelle Obama and Hillary Clinton, played by Sasheer, Zamata, and Vanessa, and it was probably the strongest sketch of the night, playing off gently on a speculated dislike of the two women for each other. Now, I was surprised to find that I also rather enjoyed Come Do a Game Show with Your Mother. It'll be fun, yes it will. Personally, I wish SNL would lay off the game shows because they do them too often and it's just like crack to them. But Kate McKinnon's mom character really sold this one for me. Now, Barbara Walters showing up on Weekend Update was a nice surprise and left me wondering how long Lorne Michael has been trying to get her on the show. Who knows, maybe since the days of Gilda Radner first impersonating her. But the best joke on Update was the Vladimir Putin Game of Thrones line, which made me laugh out loud for the first time of the night. The second time was when Charlize Theron introduced the black keys covered in blood from the previous scene, and the last was when Kate McKinnon used a bunch of kittens as props in a bit in which I think Charlize Theron was going after that look she perfected in the film Monster, and succeeded here in a really creepy way. But while there was some good stuff, and I loved the way they let the women of the cast practically take over the Mother's Day show, there was also a lot of not-so-good stuff. For instance, the opening monologue centering around Charlize Theron's supposed inability to sing was totally forgettable, as was the bit she did with the Sim Padrat as instructors in the art of how to get a man. I mean, I thought they executed both of these scenes perfectly with some great choreography and sound effects, but this is SNL not Dancing with the Stars, and both scenes were dependent on jokes that just didn't work, which also the way I felt about Dragon Babies, which was the biggest disappointment of the night for me. When they rolled out the cartoon dragons and Michael Bryan's Chicago cop voiceover character, I really thought this was going somewhere, but it didn't, and it just seemed like a big waste of time and energy, which could also be said for Bikini Beach, which was actually as funny as a bloated, rotting beached whale. Now, I wish they would stop doing Girlfriend's Talk Show because I think it's a huge waste of Cecily Strong's talent and it's never funny, which can also be said for the drunk uncle bit Bobby Moynihan does on Weekend Update, with the sole exception of the time Peter Dinklage did it with him. And now that I think of it, if Peter Dinklage showed up on Girlfriend's Talk Show, I'd probably find that funny too. Which brings me to the short film they did in which they sent members of the cast out into the streets of New York to pretend to be foreigners wearing funny clothes and with funny accents and visiting the city for the first time and interacting with New Yorkers. I mean, it was really flat and left me wondering if the director was out there behind the camera tearing his hair out because of the lack of spontaneously funny reactions from the real people the cast were interacting with. It's an idea which might have worked if, say, Andy Samberg had been behind it, so next week when he hosts the season finale of the 39th season of SNL, I encourage him to take a stab at it because I'm curious to see what he'd do with it. And until then, hit that YouTube subscribe button, like me on Twitter, give this video a thumbs up, and head over to Beamly where I host their SNL room and jointly host the Late Night Roundup room where we chat about every late night show from The Daily Show to Jimmy Kimmel to SNL. And don't forget to look down below this video for links to the best sketches of the night. And now I'm going to bed.